Hi, my name is Dia, and you're watching D.I.Y. Dia. Dun dun! Don't mind my hands, I don't know why I'm moving like this, but I just am. So today we're going to make a friendship bracelet that your friends will absolutely love. So let's get started! What you will need are 2 yarns and scissors. I'm using these 2 multicolored yarns because that's what I had. So you take 1 yarn and then you cut this yarn into 4 pieces. And then you take the other yarn, which is the bright colored yarn, which is what I call it, and you cut this also into 4 pieces. So at the end, you should altogether have 8 pieces of yarn. And then you're going to set it up in a way that I will show you in a minute. So you're supposed to set it with 4 on each side so it's a pattern. And then you take the edges and then you put it over. Take the yarn on the end and then you put it over, and then as you go you keep tightening. As you can see, that is what I'm doing, and right now it looks very, very loose, but I'll be pulling, just pull it, and you can keep spreading the end strands out if you need to. If you put them too close together, you can spread them out. And it'll be easier if you use longer strands, and it'll also be easier if you tape the end to the table, and I would recommend tying the end up and then taping it down to a table so it won't break apart. So I guess this is just the same thing throughout the whole way, I guess. I mean, if you use like one colored yarn, then obviously it wouldn't look like this. It would look like a braid with the same color, kind of. It would look kind of like a fishtail, I guess. I feel like this kind of looks like a fishtail too. Well, as you can see, I'm just being very careful because if I cross too much, then it looks kind of weird, but that's why you just cross. You be very careful, hold it down. For your first tries, this will definitely take a longer time, but as you go on, you will get faster. This, actually, I don't remember. So I made 3 other bracelets. Yeah, this is my 4th time, and it turned out pretty good. The tighter it is, the less likely that it's gonna not fall apart, but spread out when you're finished. So yeah, and now your end should actually look like that. So now just do this until the needed length. So how long you need it, which is like your wrist, I guess. The size of your wrist or whoever you're making it for, I guess. So now there's this I'm done, and then I tied up the both edges, and now you take the top edge or whichever edge we want, and then you make like a loop, and then you set it there to get another piece of yarn. So a small piece of yarn, you don't want like a really long one, a small one is enough. So you want it proper enough to fit a button, and you'll see why. So now you just tie it with this yarn, it is a pretty small piece of yarn, so don't feel like you're wasting yarn, because you can just use scraps, because if you cut your piece of yarn that you use to make the bracelet itself pretty long, you can just cut off a small piece from the excess yarn. So I'm just tying it closed to the edges, and you should see that your finger, or your index finger, I guess, should fit through it. So now you take some thread, like it has to be just a thin piece of yarn or something, and then a button. You'll need those two for this. This is the other end of the bracelet. So now you just cut a small piece of the embroidery thread, and that's what I used at least, and then you tie it around the end. I mean, it doesn't have to be like tied in a loop or anything, it just needs to be tied to the end. And then after you tie it, you take the button. Well, I'm double knotting it, so yeah. Make sure it's secure, so then like the button or the nothing falls apart. Make sure all your knots are secure. So you take the button, and then make sure your thread is thin enough so the thread can go through the buttonholes. This is a pretty big button. That's why I'm using it, because I thought that the yarn could fit through, but it couldn't. And then I couldn't find another button, so I just used the embroidery thread anyway. So then, if your button only has 2 holes, then, well, you can tie it with just the 2 holes. But mine has 4 holes, but it's secure enough with just 2 holes, so I'm just tying it through the 2 holes, even though there are 4 holes. So I'm just tying it together. Tie it more than once to make sure it's secure, because if it's not, then your button might just fall, and then you have to tie the bracelet up, which somehow that actually can break, because when I used to do that for my bracelets, it always fell apart. I don't know why, so that's why I came up with this button method, I guess. That's what I'm going to call it. So it should be secure like that, and then you cut off the edge with your scissors. Duh. And then you cut off the excess at the end, like the yarn excess, and you can do that for both ends, like I am right now. So now your bracelet is technically finished, I guess. Now you can just stick the button through the loop that you made that can fit your finger, and well, there you go. You have yourself a bracelet, a friendship bracelet that your friends will absolutely love. As I said before, you can do this with any yarn, and you can even do this with separate 4 colors, but I just decided to use it like this because I didn't want to make it overpowering. So